Hi all, and welcome to Freewill Life UK. I am your host, Francesca Obwasho Campbell, and today's topic is Liz Truss resigns after 45 days as Prime Minister. Let's get into it.
Black Boy Productions. Black Boy Productions. Are you dumb?
So I think we all knew this was going to happen. I remember when she went head to head with Sunak, and he really put it to her and said, "You're not going to be able to deliver," in a nutshell, you know. And lo and behold, she couldn't deliver. So let's take a look at that head to head that she had with Sunak.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Yep, absolutely. So
Is now the right time to cut taxes?
Everybody thinks that putting up taxes at this moment is going to hurt the economy. You can't put up taxes and get growth. If we follow Rishi's plans, we are headed for a recession.
You promised almost £40 billion. It's not moral to ask our children to pick up the tab for the bills that we're not prepared to pay.
In the first 2 years, when you are Prime Minister, what changes will people see under you, Prime Minister Sunak, on levelling up?
Manufacturing businesses across the country, what they tell me they need is that they want tax cuts on business investment because they want to invest in more equipment,
What I would do immediately is put in new low-tax investment zones with simplified planning so we could get on with building and we could get on with those new projects. I'd keep corporation tax low to attract investment from around the world.
Would you be prepared to deploy the Royal Navy to the Black Sea to protect those grain
I am not
supplies that are
prepared.
needed?
I am not prepared for the United Kingdom to become directly involved in the conflict.
No, I think actually we should take a step back and recognise that we've put together one of the strongest set of economic sanctions that the world has ever seen, and that's really hampered Putin's war effort.
Now about the tone of this campaign, because it has already become very personal, hasn't it? I am looking at your earrings, Liz Truss. There's talk of how much they cost in the press today. I don't know if they're the ones you're wearing, but £4.50 was the figure that was being bandied around. Your suits and your shoes, which were apparently much more expensive.
I didn't have any issue with how expensive anybody else's clothes are. And actually, I think Rishi is a very finely dressed person. And I'm a great admirer of his dress sense.
I want to talk about Borris Johnson. What do you say to them, people who now see you as the man who brought them down?
Yeah, well, it was an easy decision. It was a difficult decision. I've explained my reasons for it at the time, but it was a decision I made on principle. And that's what you should know about me, that I'm always going to act on principle.
What's done is done. The party has made the decision, and I don't believe that he would want further involvement.
So you heard it here yourself. Given time, she might have been able to do something to help the economy. But I think from the steps that she had started to take, we could see that we would be heading for a recession. So when she became Prime Minister, she gave a speech which had some wonderful ethoses in it, but nothing came to pass. Within time, we might have seen her do some great changes, but what she has done thus far didn't benefit the people. So let me show you the speech that Liz Truss gave when she became Prime Minister. Have a look and tell me what you think.
A big cheer for Liz Truss, who walks with purpose and a smile up towards the lectern to greet people for the first time as Prime Minister.
Good afternoon. I have just accepted Her Majesty the Queen's kind invitation to form a new government. Let me pay tribute to my predecessor. Borris Johnson delivered Brexit, the COVID vaccine, and stood up to Russian aggression. History will see him as a hugely consequential Prime Minister. I'm honoured to take on this responsibility at a vital time for our country. What makes the United Kingdom great is our fundamental belief in freedom, in enterprise, and in fair play. Our people have shown grit, courage, and determination time and time again. We now face severe global headwinds caused by Russia's appalling war in Ukraine and the aftermath of COVID. Now is the time to tackle the issues that are holding Britain back. We need to build roads, homes, and broadband faster. We need more investment and great jobs in every town and city across our country. We need to reduce the burden on families and help people get on in life. I know that we have what it takes to tackle those challenges. Of course, it won't be easy, but we can do it. We will transform Britain into an aspiration nation with high-paying jobs, safe streets, and where everyone everywhere has the opportunities they deserve. I will take action this day and action every day to make it happen. United with our allies, we will stand up for freedom and democracy around the world, recognising that we can't have security at home without having security abroad. As Prime Minister, I will pursue 3 early priorities. Firstly, I will get Britain working again. I have a bold plan to grow the economy through tax cuts and reform. I will cut taxes to reward hard work and boost business-led growth and investment. I will drive reform in my mission to get the United Kingdom working, building and growing. We'll get spades in the ground to make sure people are not facing unaffordable energy bills, and we will also make sure that we are building hospitals, schools, roads and broadband. Secondly, I will deal hands-on with the energy crisis caused by Putin's war. I will take action this week to deal with energy bills and to secure our future energy supply. Thirdly, I will make sure that people can get doctor's appointments and the NHS services they need. We will put our health service on a firm footing. By delivering on the economy, on energy and on the NHS, we will put our nation on the path to long-term success. We shouldn't be daunted by the challenges we face. As strong as the storm may be, I know that the British people are stronger. Our country was built by people who get things done. We have huge reserves of talent, of energy and determination. I am confident that together we can ride out the storm. We can rebuild our economy and we can become the modern, brilliant Britain that I know we can be. This is our vital mission to ensure opportunity and prosperity for all people and future generations. I am determined to deliver. Thank you.
Sorry, I just have to. I am determined to deliver. Wow. I didn't see any tax cuts. Oh, I did. For corporations. What about for the average Joe? Yeah, she needed to go. We'll have Britain working again. These are just buzzwords for her to look good. Cuts on energy bills, that's not happened. She hasn't delivered. And I know it's only 45 days, the proposal that she put out wasn't looking good. And for the NHS, since C19, people can't even get a normal appointment to go and see the doctor, dentist. Like, what is going on? That's what we need to really understand, is what is going on. And I'd like to know, who's up for the job? Who is up for the job? Because someone has made a right blunder of it. Who's up for the job? Let's see.
There are echoes tonight of the 2019 summer crisis that the Conservative Party had that brought Boris Johnson to power. There were a few core believers in Boris Johnson then, but what got him over the line, what won him the leadership, was the fact that the Tory party was in electoral crisis. It had just come 5th in the European Parliament elections. He was the break glass in case of emergency candidate. They thought he might just be able to win them seats no one else could reach. And we're in that place again for a lot of Tory MPs. They know now better than ever what Boris Johnson's flaws are. But although once again there are some core loyalists, there are others who are rallying to his side because they think he's the only one who's got that electoral magic. One of the MPs who's gone to his side today is one who resigned this summer, saying that Boris Johnson had been damaging the country. They'd resigned from a position in the Conservative Party as a vice chair. And you do have to say, there might be something to some of this. I've spoken to Labour strategists who say that the thing about when you're challenging someone like Liz Truss is you know exactly where her tanks are. With Boris Johnson, he pops up in different bits of the electoral battlefield, and you can never quite be sure where he is. He might.
We can't have Boris Johnson again. And if we do, how is he going to make it better? He was already a prime minister and did. Anyway, let me hold my tongue and let's listen.
Might get some more endorsements from the right of the party on Monday that could seal the deal and get him into the final 2 or 3 candidates. His loyalists tonight, though, are delighted. The man they see as the prince over the water is flying home over the Atlantic as we speak.
The time. So, at the moment, I would lean towards Boris Johnson.
MPs who swept to power in the Red Wall are amongst those who want Boris Johnson to run. As critics say, these MPs are simply terrified of losing their seats. I think he gives them a chance of holding on. They say the scandals that brought Boris Johnson down were blown out of proportion.
I don't believe that Boris Johnson is dishonest. I think, it's been trial by media.
Sorry, I just had to pause it there because this woman, what do you mean you don't believe he was dishonest? During the pandemic, they had a boozer. How honest is that?
With him, he's worked very, very hard for the country, got us through COVID, got us the vaccinations. He's got great vision.
I think a lot of people are worried at the moment. People have seen the polls move very rapidly, very quickly. And I think people are just reaching for something that they know.
They're panicking.
I think that's some truth in that.
Penny Mordaunt became the first candidate to declare today. The supporters say she has a better chance of uniting the party than the other 2 likely candidates. But she was in the failed Liz Truss cabinet. She was round the cabinet table. She was in the room.
Yeah, and she was part of the cabinet collective responsibility. And I wasn't in the cabinet to know what discussions happened, who tried to persuade the Prime Minister or the Chancellor to take.
Well, apparently nobody did.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Would have told us, I think, if she had.
I haven't asked her, but I'm clear moving forward.
Rishi Sunak said during the campaign that what Liz Truss was proposing was fairy tale economics, and Penny Mordaunt supported Liz Truss.
Well, I think
Yeah, fairy tale economics, definitely. Don't know where they get their maths from. But hey, I didn't go to private school.
He's the person to succeed her.
Well, I think she is.
Rishi Sunak's campaign has taken the lead on declared nominations, but uniting the party under a figure who brought down Borris Johnson is quite a challenge.
I'd be really happy to see, if Boris did lose to Rishi, to see him brought into government,
And vice versa.
and absolutely,
That didn't work very well last time.
He
walked out the door.
No, I
He's
think-
barely speaking at the end.
No, I don't think that's quite fair. I think what
Well, he did walk out the door. We
I
watched
think
him.
they
He
also
resigned.
they also worked together for over 2 years.
This week, Borris Johnson has been calling some MPs, telling them his second regime in Downing Street would have a different culture from the first. His rivals say it wouldn't. And there's an inquiry into lying to Parliament hanging over him, which could recommend he's suspended from the Commons.
He's had his chance and he blew it. He lost the confidence of Conservative members of Parliament, and I don't think we should go back to Boris.
Him returning as the solution is really that would be going round in circles, and circles that could become a death spiral of the Conservative Party. And I think it's possibly the worst idea I've heard of in the 46 years I've been a member of the Conservative Party.
The cost of government borrowing went up today and sterling fell. Some analysts convinced that was prompted by Borris Johnson becoming the bookies' favourite to be next Prime Minister.
I think everyone remembers Boris saying he was in favour of having his cake and eating it. And at a time when adjustments are needed to the public sector circumstances, you do wonder how keen he will be on implementing them. So that is, or at least it could easily give rise to the same sort of concerns as we had in late September, that the budget isn't going to be balanced and that national debt will be on a path where it rises indefinitely.
One Borris Johnson supporter said the former Prime Minister had texted him before leaving the Caribbean. "We are going to do this. I'm up for it." Borris Johnson's flight lands tomorrow morning.
He's in the Caribbean, sunning it up, while we're here, slugging it out. I just don't understand why they don't just give Sunak a chance and see what happens with that. He's the one that told us she weren't going to cut it, and he was right. He might be right on a few other things too. Give him a chance. Let's see what happens.
Given reporting now, Conservative members chose the last Prime Minister, but may have less of a say this time around with an accelerated timeline. Conservative MPs have until Monday to nominate their chosen candidate. If just one candidate gathers the support of more than 100 MPs, then they will be the next Prime Minister. If two candidates make it through, MPs will vote on Monday to decide who has the majority support of the parliamentary party. Similarly, if three make the ballot paper, MPs will vote on Monday and the least popular hopeful will be eliminated. Then a second vote will be held that night to decide who has the majority support of MPs. There will then be pressure on the candidate with the least support among MPs to withdraw. But if that doesn't happen, only then will the membership get to choose, with a winner announced on Friday. Well, our policy correspondent Paul McNamara has been speaking to Conservative Party members in Maidstone.
Just have to pause it there. Do you think the UK can wait till Friday? Something needs to be done like ASAP. They really have done a pause up on this. This is insane. Let's get back to it.
Across this green and pleasant land, over the summer, a small section of society picked Liz Truss to lead the nation.
Lovely.
Just 2 months later, Tory party members may have a hand in choosing the next Prime Minister again. Come on, Sally Ann, right now, who's your money on?
I'd like somebody who's going to unify the party. I'm not going to say her absolute name at the moment.
I am backing Penny Mordaunt.
Okay, Robin?
I'm still waiting. We voted for Rishi Sunak last time.
I know this is going to sound so insensitive, but I don't give two. Have you seen the ages of these people that they're asking? That's not our future. We don't give the young any credit whatsoever. Like, we don't know what's going on. these guys are going to kick the bucket like anytime soon and leave us in debt.
So he must be a contender if he wants to stand.
How important is it that this does go to the membership in some way, shape, or form?
I think it is important. However, there's a little bit of me that thinks for the ease of government and for the stabilisation that we need going ahead, I think this time I could have accepted that they made the decision up in Westminster.
I personally think it should be a little bit like the election of the Pope. So they all get shut in a room and we wait until the white smoke appears.
Robin, Andrew's happy for you to be shut out.
I am actually on the same side because I feel that 180,000 members is a very, very small proportion of the electorate who voted Conservative. And if you look around this room, you'll see the members are all oldies and they're not representative of the whole normal structure of society.
Checking the temp.
Oh, I'm glad he said it. Oh my God, very true.
Which are among your association, who do they like? Who could you imagine them unifying behind?
I think it's quite difficult. I think Penny Mordaunt probably is the unifier.
I like her. I liked her. I did support her the first time round, actually. And then she backed Liz Truss, and then I backed Liz Truss. So, but I did support Penny Mordaunt first time round.
Okay, do you think she could win you a general election?
Yes.
I'm not sure that the country is ready for another woman. Now, that's a very sexist remark. What I would think would...
This guy, I like him. Yeah. It's not that we're not ready for another woman. You just want to put a woman in place as Prime Minister. No, we want the right person. That's what we want.
Is if she managed to get Rishi on side and back in the chancellorship, then there would be a very strong team.
Mouse, why don't you think the country might not be ready for another female Prime Minister?
Well, they've got rid of two before, and now a third.
Is there anyone that would just be terrible?
Rishi.
Rishi, you think Rishi would be terrible?
Yeah.
Why?
High taxes.
I think the unspoken word is the brown face. We haven't progressed at all. We haven't. This is just showing me really what it is about.
I've heard all morning that there's gathering support for Boris coming back, but I'm not convinced that's a good idea.
Let's face it, Boris was the one who secured a stonkingly amazing victory, at the last general election. Better, I suspect, than any of us thought it was going to be.
Robin, would you be happy with Boris?
No, I wouldn't. He hasn't yet had the report on his performance with the various so-called misdemeanors. And when he does, then what would happen if he was in position? I don't think he should come back. You can't have two bites of the cherry.
Well, he moulded himself on Churchill, and didn't Churchill do a great job when he came back as Prime Minister?
So you'll roll the dice?
Good point.
Yep. We would hope to see that he could follow in Churchill's footsteps and make Britain great again.
Well, while the talk...
I just hate that talk. Make Britain great again. How about we make the economy great again?
Tories wrangle with their second leadership contest in 7 weeks. Polling in former Labour areas is not in their favour. Amelia Jen has been to Burnley in Lancashire, a so-called red wall seat, to see what people think about the spectre of Borris Johnson making a return and the cost of living crisis. And Amelia joins me now. Amelia.
Well, it's safe to say that people here, like the rest of the population of Britain, are suffering from a case of leadership election fatigue, even whiplash. And with speculation about Boris Johnson making some kind of comeback, you can add to that deja vu. Now, there's lots of disagreement about whether or not that would be a good or bad thing. Lots of people here still holding out a candle for him, others rolling their eyes at the very idea. But with energy bills on the rise, mortgage rates on the rise, everyone was clear about one thing, and that was the return of stability. Call it the return of boring politics.
All right, so I'm going to pause it there. So it's Saturday over here in the UK, and we've got till Monday to find out who's going to be our Prime Minister. Like, watching that has just shown me that Britain is not ready for a black or brown face as a Prime Minister. No matter what he stands for, they're just not ready for it. That is the underpinning, because I don't understand someone that is telling you what is going on within the economy, healthcare, and you can't take it from him. And not only that, why are we pushing for a woman to become Prime Minister when we need the best person to become Prime Minister, to build or rebuild? We're just going to have to see and wait till Monday who is going to be our next Prime Minister. I'm hoping it's not Boris Johnson. He had his time. We don't want him back. I think we should start with new ideas. Someone who can take us through the future, and someone who's positive about where the UK is going to be outside of the EU, and someone that can bring change on all levels. And I think I'll do an update video after Monday. Thank you for watching. Have your say. Like, comment, subscribe.
Black Boy Productions.